Hey guys, thank you for joining us today at Fat Island Gaming. My name is James. I do the podcast every Monday with all the rest of the guys. Today we are joined with a very, very special guest, Alex Epstein, the narrative director for Compulsion Games and for the game We Happy Few. Alex, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate you coming on today to let us do this interview with you. As an independent studio yourselves, and us kind of being independent ourselves, I definitely appreciate you giving us this opportunity, as well as us, helping you guys get out there a little bit more too.
Thanks.
So, we have a couple of questions here for you today. Some things I wanted to ask about. I figured no better to ask than the man who created the story than yourself. Since We Happy Few takes place on numerous islands around in the British Isles, is there any chance of getting the opportunity to go to these other islands or to see maybe mainland England?
Well, you're going to definitely get to go to the other islands if you can figure out how to get there. And as for the mainland, that would be telling.
Fair enough. All right. Well, definitely getting the chance to go to the other islands would be good. So definitely you have to figure out how to get there then. That's definitely...
We have a whole system of different bridges, all of which are different kinds of puzzles. Either you have to solve a puzzle or you have to get a thing or you have to figure out how to make the Bobby go away or some kind of, and most of them have multiple solutions.
That would be by bridges, I assume, and puzzles like those spankers that are in the game.
Well, so yeah, there is a bridge with some spankers and a joy detector. So that would be either you can walk through with the just take your joy, or you could try to run in there. Try to set the spanker to zap the bobbies instead of you, and then run in there and cause havoc.
All right,
we're trying for emergent gameplay. We're trying for ideally we want players to come up with solutions to problems that we didn't come up with ourselves.
I like the multi-approach solution when it comes to gameplay. A lot of games are starting to do that now, and I think it's the right way to go. Not just linear decisions, just the opportunity to come up with your own plan. I think that's fantastic. One of the other questions that have definitely been on my mind and the mind on one of my partners here, who is a aspiring writer himself. What served you most as creative influence above all the others to write this world and write this story?
Well, my personal biggest inspiration is Neil Gaiman, who's the writer of the Sandman comic series, American Gods, Neverwhere, Carline, Anansi Boys. And he draws from all sorts of myths and legends and fables, and often from the very early versions of those. And I'm kind of going after the same thing. So in making this game, we have Uncle Jack telling the horrifying first early versions of Grimm's fairy tales, the uncleaned up ones, and we have... we have some witches on the island who are inspired by witches that I knew when I was living in California. And we have all sorts of, we've got a character who may or may not be St. Peter in the game. And so we're just drawing from everything that is culturally out there. And personally, I'm just putting in everything that I've been... This game for me has been an opportunity to draw from all sorts of stuff that I thought was just sort of time wasting. Like, I'm interested in this bit of history, or I'm interested in this bit of linguistics.
Just kind of put it all together.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, hey, I can throw this into the game.
Okay, so a conglomerate of influence, if you will.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just the whole Western tradition.
Now, when you say when you were out in California, some of the characters were inspired by some witches. I assume you mean like a witches in a Wiccan circle.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Very neat. I'll definitely give an interesting aspect to the game. That's for sure.
I like to say I met my first wife at a craft fair.
Oh, cool. I served in the army with a guy who was a Wiccan, and he told me all kinds of cool stuff. It was very, very interesting. I always was very intrigued with it. Not one myself, but very, very intrigued with it. So that's cool. So you got all kinds of different characters on the island. You got all kinds of different people, influence from all walks of life. That's really interesting, especially considering the time period the game is set in the 1960s, to have a lot of that influence from even things you've been influenced with by now put into this game. So that could
Yeah,
be
so I threw in a lot of things I know about things that happened during World War II, which are less well known. And, some of our influences are movies of the 60s. So Blow Up is a big one. Fahrenheit 451 is another one.
Oh, yes.
We're just pulling right and left, like, ooh, this would be neat. This would be neat. And obviously everything has to make sense within the world, and it has to reveal something about the world. So we're not just stuffing things in that don't belong, but we're going like, this is a great opportunity to put that in.
Well, drawing. You said you took some stuff from World War II that you know about. Isn't like the beginning of this world circled around the German that did not happen in real life invasion of England, and then but in this alternate universe that it did happen, and they had to do the terrible thing, whatever that may be, in order to stop it.
Yeah, well, so for example, our timeline begins in 1933 when FDR is assassinated. Which there was an attempt on FDR in 1933.
Yeah,
in our world, it succeeded. So FDR did not become president because he's dead, and that meant the United States didn't get pulled into the war. Huey Long becomes president. He's an isolationist. He's not interested in Europe.
Wow.
And, so that means that Operation Sea Lion goes off successfully, and the Germans are able to cross the channel. That's not. Wow. I mean, that's in the game very marginally. So I'm not giving you any spoilers, but that's the setup, if you will.
Yeah, and still more information than I knew 20 minutes ago.
Things proceed from there, and there will be hints and bits and pieces. There'll be things that you can find that tell you a little bit more about that stuff.
Okay. Hey, fair enough. I like backstory. Backstory is crucial to gameplay, in my personal opinion. Drawing from my last question. Your main character, Arthur. Now, I know that there are other characters in the game that you aren't able to talk about. I saw a picture recently for one, bald-headed guy, soldier's uniform, beard. I'm obviously drawn to that. But as far as your influence of Arthur, what's that?
Based on you, in fact.
Oh.
Just have to dye your beard red.
What's that?
You'll just have to dye your beard red.
Yeah, that's fine. I will do it. I got plenty of uniforms.
Start speaking in a Scottish accent.
I can do that too. I was actually born in Dunoon, Scotland, but
there you go.
Your influence for Arthur. I think I was reading somewhere that you took a little bit from maybe Hugh Grant and some other influences as well to create Arthur.
Yeah, he's sort of a character that could have been played by Hugh Grant. He's definitely a character from a Nick Hornby novel. So High Fidelity, Say Anything. He's sort of was the reason. He could be the one from Fight Club.
Tyler Durden?
No, the other one, the character played by Edward Norton.
Edward Norton? Oh,
yeah,
Edward
so
Norton's
he's sort of a person who's in his head. He's a person who isn't brave except if he has to be. Those aren't really so much inspirations as that's how I describe him. The inspiration was just that when I came on board about 2 months after Whitney, our art director, and Guillaume, the studio head, had been working on the game a little bit, and she'd drawn this character. So I had this character. I didn't know what his name was, and I had to figure out what's his personality based on he was tall and skinny, and he seemed concerned about something.
So artwork came first for Arthur, and then story afterwards.
Yeah, and then the other characters came about sort of with that as the seed. We built around that, and in particular, Guillaume said, "Give me some characters we can cosplay." So
you guys created characters based on the fact that people would be able to cosplay it later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
The girl with the hypodermic needle and Miss Bing, who you meet in the opening, are both characters that we thought would be fun to cosplay and also make a lot of sense in our world.
Well, that's fantastic that you guys, thought ahead for the community because people are going to want to emulate the games. I mean, they do it all the time anyway. You guys wanted to base characters on that, not make it too difficult for them to cosplay. That's really fantastic. That's a lot of giving back to the community, in my opinion.
Well, we had some amazing cosplay on Contrast, so we've been thrilled with the feedback that we've got from the community. We did a Kickstarter, as you know, a while back, and so we've already had about 800 people with access to the game, and people are coming up to us at PAX dressed as a wellie or a wellette, and that's just awesome. I mean, the game's not even out yet, and people are already dressing up.
Is that like a very humbling experience for you guys?
I think it's profoundly thrilling. It's like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. We love it. I'm gewelling. I'm bursting with pride.
Good. Well, good. I think that's probably the best way to react myself personally. I would just be completely humbled by it. Not only surprised, but just completely humbled that people would want to do something that I helped create. I've never really created anything,
feeling,
so
it's an amazing feeling.
I imagine so. We definitely appreciate you joining us today. Thank you very much for coming here, especially since you're all the way in Montreal, Canada. We Happy Few is releasing, I believe, on July 26th. Is that correct?
That's right.
On the Xbox One preview program. I know I'm definitely getting it myself the day it releases. So We Happy Few, made by Compulsion Games. Again, this was Alex Epstein, the narrative director for Compulsion Games. And thank you so much for this amazing opportunity and the permission to interview you from everybody there at your studio. I really appreciate you being here today, Alex.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the game.
I think I will. Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.